here with Philippa Naylor, and I'm sure you have seen her when we were at Cynthia England's house, right?
Oh yes, that's quite a while ago now, isn't it? I think it was 2009.
I'm impressed, okay? Anyways, she got a ribbon here for this incredible miniature piece. Tell us about the piece, and frankly, I'm surprised you got third place.
Okay, well, I'm just really happy to have a prize.
Exactly. Well, no, let's say this. I'd be happy to have my quilt in this show, period. So tell me about this piece. Philippa, it's amazing.
So it's turned edge applique, or applique as we say in England. The size specification for a miniature in the UK is 30 centimetres, that's just less than 12 inches.
Whee.
So I have to make them really small to get them into shows in the UK as well as here. The first one I ever did in the UK was disqualified because it was 2 millimetres too big. So I have learnt since. So it's turned edge applique, and I made little templates, little plastic templates out of mylar, which is that sheet plastic that
yes.
yeah, like the Karen K. Buckley Perfect Circles. And I gathered my little applique shapes around these little templates. So the small circle that you can see here is the size that a little hole punch, a paper hole punch would make. And so it was really fine fabric, really fine thread, gathered it round, and I free motioned all of those little shapes onto the background.
Is that trapuntoed at all?
No, it's just heavily stitched in some areas and not in others. What I did with it, instead of putting the applique on first and then quilting it, I quilted the sandwich and then sewed the applique or applique on top.
I am so glad you asked that, because at home I'm working on a piece and I thought, I'm just going to quilt this thing and then applique on it, and you didn't get dinged for it. You got yourself a ribbon.
Exactly, and then you don't have these tiny little areas in between shapes that you've got to try and get some machine quilting inside. So you get this nice secondary pattern on the back of it as well, and then the applique goes on the top. Just makes so much sense. I don't know why it took me so many years to work that out.
I just think it's because we think it's against the rules or something. And
there are no rules.
John is going to zoom in at the end, and they put us in jail if you lifted it up and we could get a picture of that?
That's my quilt.
Okay.
I touched it before.
Now, what about this edge? Well, I'm going to get a close-up before he gets in there. What about this edge? It's just beautiful.
So the edge is, it's made from fabric, so I have made it. It is what's called a rouleau edge, and so the fabric had to be really fine to get it as skinny as that. And I cut a bias strip of fabric and I anchor a little thread tail at one end, and then I sew a channel, a tube with the thread tail running down the middle, and then I can pull it through. By doing that. So it is all kind of manufactured by me. It's not a bought or purchased trim on the edge.
Okay, so you said something and we haven't pre-talked. So are you like starting to specialize in miniatures?
Just a little phase I'm going
through. Okay. Now this
is
has whipped up some ribbons in Paducah. It got something, right?
It won Best Miniature in Paducah, which is actually a purchase award, and it would have gone into the museum, but I decided I wanted to keep the quilt and I forego the money. So it's a good job though, because if I had done that, it wouldn't come here, would it? So,
right. And it got what? Is it Birmingham?
At Birmingham last year, it won first place in miniatures and then went on to win Best of Show.
Best of Show, folks. Was it the first miniature that ever got Best of Show?
It was. And what happens at Birmingham in the UK is that all of the first place winners are put forward to Best of Show, but you still keep your first place prize. So you sat in the award ceremony and you get your first prize. And I just sat there not even thinking that this would be considered for Best of Show, because it just didn't occur to me that this little thing would make Best of Show. And so the final award that is announced is Best of Show, and they said my name, and I just couldn't believe that this tiny little thing had won this great big prize. So it has been a really fun little piece that has really got out there and worked hard for me.
I can believe it. John, why don't you scoot in? Let's get up real close. And Philippa, give us a tour of this.
Okay, so it is cotton lawn fabrics. Now, so what I did was I didn't really start off with a design that I had drawn out on paper. I just had some ideas and I started to make the little turned edge shapes. So I had all these little individual motifs and I just started to quilt from the centre, and I did a little bit of quilting in the centre, and then I arranged some motifs on that and just kept taking photos and arranging them in different ways until I'd got what I liked. So I stitched the middle section down, the little circular section in the middle, did a little bit more quilting, made some more shapes and just kept adding as I went along. There's a little bit of handwork, some little French knots as well.
Sure, point.
So just
right
tiny
there.
little
Okay.
ones here
Okay.
and also in this area here.
Right.
Now, I will just flip it up because I wanted it to be really beautiful on the back as well as on the front. So
I hope that doesn't have your home address.
no, I don't
Okay.
think so. Okay, no, it doesn't. So what I did was to get the little rouleau edging in, that was inserted onto the front and then enclosed in the back before all of this this line quilting was done. Now, it was originally a little bit different, so I had started to stipple this outer corner edge, and I literally micro stippled for about 2 days, and it started to suck it in, so it was not square anymore. And I kept thinking, oh, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay, I'll just keep going. And after about 2 days of this, and I was on a real deadline to get it finished for a show, I thought, it's not working, I'm going to have to unpick it. So I spent 2 days, like working till 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yikes.
unpicking, ripping out stitch by stitch, and then redid this just straight, and that didn't pull it all in. So it was a little bit of a challenge. I tried very hard to act like a grown-up and not throw it in a corner in tears. I just just redo it, and it worked out beautifully for me. So
Well, it
yeah.
is exquisite.
Thank you.
And for all of you at home, we desperately want you back on again.
Oh, I know. I want to call.
So what she comes a long way, and so anytime you're coming to the U.S., you check in with Lilo because you have a standing ovation welcome to the quiltshow.com.
Thank you. Well, I hope to see you all again somewhere soon.
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you, and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much.